If you've ever wondered how do those pros do it, you've come to the right show, because in this episode I'm gonna break down these 3 videos and do my best to explain how I think they were made. Now I'll admit it's been a long day, a long week, and so we need a little bit of energy. Nice. Drink your tonic, I can recommend it. In case you're new here, I'm Ryan, editor, content creator, and agency owner, which means I deal with content every single day. And in order to keep me inspired and challenged, I started this show as a means to learn from the very best in the industry and give myself inspiration to make my own content better. And obviously, giving the secrets away to you guys for free. Now I'll say, if you at all catch yourself enjoying yourself today, or maybe having even learned something new, do consider smashing the subscribe button, because honestly it helps more than you know. And with that ramble being said, let's get into the first video of today. Now I'll admit this is a short one, takes some interesting tricks to make it look this good. So let's go. I'm absolutely loving these videos, which are kind of like on the realm of AI almost, or world manipulation, and just how much sick stuff you can make by cleverly understanding how to edit. I think there are about 3, maybe 4 shots that are required to put this whole video together. And in order to do that, you're gonna need one video whereby you jump. And you just kind of jump up onto the ground. That's obviously this video. And in the video, you're gonna go through your knees, and in post, you're gonna keyframe the original video to go from the top and move it down slightly. So far, not too hard. I think you got it. The next clip, you're gonna jump into the water. In addition, you're going to need to film 3rd clip to piece these 2 together. Now, you'll need to look for some sort of monkey bars or something whereby you can get your feet high off the ground. And then you'll need to let yourself drop. And then you basically crop these 2 together to the best of your ability. So the first one kind of ends here, whereby you splash into the water and the water shoots up, and one of you falling starts more or less the same time. And then it's just about clever cropping and making sure that you disappear at the right time. Now you'll need a, I guess, 4th shot, whereby you are hanging onto monkey bars in order to effectively make this feel like it's realistic. Now, how do you get yourself onto a plain background like he has? You'll need to rotoscope yourself out. There's plenty of tools that do this for you. You can even do it in Canva these days, although albeit it's not the best yet. Tools I can recommend: Runway, although it's paid, and After Effects if you understand how to use it. Rotoscope tool in there. And then when you've rotoscoped yourself out efficiently, you place it on top of the jump, and now you need to keyframe the obviously to go down as you land on it. And then final thing to kind of sell it is the little water droplets here. I'm pretty sure if you look for some sort of water droplet green screen effect or water splash, you might be able to find something that kind of resembles this. That was it, or at least that's how I would go about recreating it. As said, short but complex to do well. Moving on to video 2. This one blew my mind. Good job, my dude. If you're watching this and you feel like you want to jump on a call and break it down, DM me. Maybe we can record it, turn it into a podcast or something. Let's start with something I'm pretty sure about, and that is this segment. These layers here are part of a sound wave. Could be that these are all individual, actually, sound clips. Looks like this is a kick. This might be a clap. This is basically what it looks like when you visually record sound, and this is the pattern at which it comes out. You know, so it starts loud and goes thinner. What you in essence need is 5 different sound clips, all on this like blue-ish, also with a texturized background. Then it's just about moving them kind of like some sort of puzzle format. And this in of itself is just clever keyframing. Now, could be that this guy did it in After Effects, but I'm pretty sure you can still get the same effect in Premiere Pro. What also really works well throughout the consistency of this video is the general textured feel. All of the clips that you see have a similar texture to to it, like a grainy feel. Also here, a lot of grain. Here, it's kind of grainy as well. You can see here. Something I talk about a lot on this channel is the consistency of a video. And what I mean by that is a lot of, especially beginner editors, what they do is they, for example, see film burn and they're like, that's sick. And then they see a light burn overlay and they see a glitch effect. They try and put all of this together because they think it feels cool. But what I find, what divides a good video from a great video is actually when you're able to pick one topic that works well throughout the consistency of your video and limit all of the other things, even if they might look cool. And so this guy's clearly gone for some sort of gradient, rough looking feeling with bright colors. Someone else might go for a dark feel with like film burns and overlays. Someone else might go for a noise and a glitch and inverted colors. You get the point. My main advice is to try and keep it simple because often that's what makes it great. The little glitch here, I think, is literally just a glitch. A lot of the time you can find these just as part of packs. If you use a tool like I do, like Artlist, you'll be able to find glitches within Artlist that get you a similar look and feel. The beginning here is just a box with the corners rounded. It's scaled from the size it is and then to full screen before the glitch starts. This font here is absolutely sick. So my gut says at least this is obviously the outline of a head. I think the movement here could have been done with some sort of AI tool and then a mixed media effect on top of it. And then I think back here we have like a tracking overlay on top of the music note again. So I do think that there's a consistency here in this being music notes. I'm not really sure where he would have recorded something like this, maybe in some sort of tool. Maybe he also just recreated it himself. But as far as I'm aware, the little overlays on top here are called tracking effects, and I have at least seen a couple of different packs whereby you can just download tracking effects packs. It's one of these detail things again. Seen them a lot in John Bucock's work. He uses it a lot, and I know that within Higgsfield you can use that as a top layer for a lot of the mixed media effects that they have going on. Also, the loading bar here, I would go about creating something like this as two rectangular shapes with curved edges. Those shapes, let's just say for ease here, you have one shape at the opacity at like 20%, and then the top layer is at full, right? And then you just crop left to right the bar on top. And so that's how you're gonna get this loading effect until it's full. I think they have still added a texturized layer on top. That gives you the grittiness that you see here. Anyway, sick fucking video, something different, and that's what we love to break down. Certainly a challenge. My guy, if you're watching this, feel free to send me a message. I thought it was cool. I'd love to chat. I like people that have different styles. I respect it. Those were the first two videos of today, which leads us to my favorite part of the week, hooks of the week. Hook one, the use of a text message that appears. Make sure that when you have the text appear, if you want to get this similar look and feel, add a glow effect, set it to screen blending mode. And if you really want to do it this exact way, make sure to blur things in order to create that 3D depth. Hook 2. This one was cool.
5 things that are overrated. Part 2.
5 things that are overrated. And also the use of sitting there with sunglasses on, which makes you look kind of shady, kind of aggressive, but also kind of cool and unique. And because it's unique, it catches your eye. So ultimately, it catches your attention. Also, the use of 5 things that are overrated as a kind of contrarian hook is very cleverly done. And so it doesn't surprise me that she has a part 2. I'd imagine there's going to be a very, very, very long series of other things. And then finally, hook 3. Almost so quick you missed it. And this looks pretty tricky, but actually is just something you call stop motion. And in order to create something like this, you basically just need a series of pictures that you string together. And so this is one picture, this is another picture, this is another picture, this is another picture, and they're just left on there for 2 frames every time. Another picture, another picture, another picture, another picture. And every time in between this picture, especially as he moves further across the room, he's either shot it horizontal at very distance, but what I think he's more likely done is every time between a picture being taken, he's walked back to the camera and moved the camera along a little bit. Anyway, that was stop motion. And the final video of today, let's go. Woo! Woo! So actually here, let's start with the easiest part of this all, is the tracking overlay that I mentioned before. As I mentioned, it's currently a bit of a trend, adding these tracking elements in. A variety of packs. I think, as said, within Higgsfield, you can now add this as a layer on top as well. Here's another example of it. Do as you wish, do as what you can afford. But I think they look very cool and sophisticated, especially if you're within this like fast cinematic techie space. What these videos always have in common is the use of like flashes, and a lot of the times, as I'm trying to see if that's the case here. So here, for example, get this effect at least, all you have to do is invert the clip. What they've probably done in this case, because the background is still black here, is probably they've masked this element and inverted that, but left the background here black as it is. But either way, a lot of the time they use these flashes, and so if this is the kind of style you're trying to recreate, playing around with the invert effect will be a good way to recreate this. This particular shot here, which is very cool, by the way. It looks like a stadium. I imagine you can probably put this into Higgsfield and then type in something like make the stadium come to life data bank, or like an atom or something like that. I feel like I need to get in touch with someone who is good at AI prompting. Let me know if you guys would want a webinar or workshop or whatever on AI prompting, and I'll do my best using the resources I have to try and set something like that up so that we can understand what makes a good prompt. This was sick. Obviously the clip has to be cleverly taken. This might again just be clever prompting, to be fair. It could be that he's added like a rain overlay on top here. Either made in Blender a 3D version of a sweat bubble or a teardrop, whatever you want to call this, which is a tool, in case you don't know what Blender is basically a means to create 3D object shapes, characters, that kind of thing, which then if you have that, bring it into Premiere, and then it's about creating the background around it. But it could also be that this is just a clever AI prompt again. As said, I need to get into AI prompting. Here is again, same effect that I spoke about with the flashes. Get a sick clip, slap the invert preset on it, and Bob's your uncle. This was crazy. Especially when I see this clip, I do think it's a lot of clever AI prompts, and so probably this was the input clip, and then next frame would be something like this, and then you would probably type in something like make a seamless transition by opening the ball and revealing a stadium, something like that. You could at least recreate this part by having 2 layers of the ball, or well, basically duplicate the ball, and then having one opacity mask here, and then having another obviously for this one, but this would also mean that the inside of here would need to be black, so you would need some sort of an opacity mask that reveals the background. You would also need basically then an entire opacity mask on this entire ball, because otherwise if you have the opacity mask here, it's going to reveal this blue shining through, right? And you want it to be black, so that's the point I'm trying to make, that you would then need a third opacity mask here, which ultimately puts you on the very back black background. But I still think this is done through means of AI. My guy, if you happen to be watching this, I'd love to understand how you made this ball transition. This was crazy. Do let me know what the prompts were that went into it. As always, I'm always blown away by the talent and the mind of people, and this is the kind of shit that keeps me excited, learning and growing more. And so if you want to do the same, consider smashing that subscribe button. It honestly helps more than you know. And with that being said, I'm gonna call it a day. It's late, I'm tired, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.